Schemes like this always take time. They will require patience, and in the long term, say in a few months' time, we'll be in a much better position to see whether this is actually working. It would be premature to say how things are going at the moment.
Well, many are frustrated by the fact that it's very hard to find parking in town, yet there are many empty spaces. How long is government prepared to give this to see if it works?
Realistically, we're talking around 3 months at least, because remember, it does require time for people to apply for the permits, and we were very clear about that on the 11th of January when we launched the scheme, that it could take as long as 4 weeks. We've managed to fine-tune that to just under a week now. So the time that it takes for you to get a permit is as short as a week. But it does take time for people to actually apply, and that is why we see empty spaces. It's because people have not had a chance to apply yet.
Well, they've had plenty of time to apply because the scheme was launched at the beginning of the year. Have you thought that perhaps the reason that people haven't taken up on it is that there isn't the demand?
I think it's human nature. I think although we came out on the 11th of January stressing how important it was to apply, I think people have waited until the last minute to see what happens, and that is the reason why the take-up has been slow. But recently the take-up has taken off very suddenly. So it has been a question of perhaps not having heard the news or not having picked up on the press releases which were issued in this respect.
Have you given thought to the fact that the residential parking zone 2, the town area, is unlike any other residential parking zone in Gibraltar in that it's the city centre, people go there to eat, they go there to work and they go there to shop?
Zone 2 is a unique zone. I mean, Gibraltar is a unique place, but Zone 2 has its challenges. Not only, as you rightly say, we have people that live there. In fact, there are 2,700 households within Zone 2, yet there are only 505 parking spaces, and yet those spaces are in competition with people that come across the border, visitors, and people that come from other zones who wish to work in town. So it will always provide challenges, and we were very clear from the start that Zone 2 would be difficult, but that doesn't mean we shy away from it.
Do residents of Parking Zone 2 have an unfair advantage in that they have unlimited parking in the centre of town?
Traditionally, Zone 2 residents have always been at a disadvantage because they have never been able to use their parking spaces because of the influx of vehicles into town. We've always received complaints of people that just have not been able to move the cars, to go shopping, to be able to come back. They've always struggled because of the competition. So what a residential parking scheme aims to do is to actually make it easier for someone who resides in a given zone to be able to have a better chance of parking. And remember, the schemes eventually will cover the whole of Gibraltar, and everyone will have greater advantage in their own residential scheme. But what we cannot have is a residential scheme for where you live, and a scheme for where you work, and a scheme for where you go and visit family, for example. It just does not happen, doesn't work.
And yet all the Gibraltarians who don't live in town and all the visitors that come into Gibraltar every day, where can they park? The Midtown car park is full by 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes, the Midtown car park is full by just past 9 o'clock in the morning. There are pay and display areas, and there are more pay and display areas.
They're also full, as we've seen this morning as well.
Well, that is right. So what we're doing, because the traffic plan is something which is fluid, it is a pilot scheme, we are looking at the scheme as we speak. So we will need to assess as it goes along, and it's very clear that there is a need for further parking in town, and probably pay and display in nature.
How are you actually monitoring the situation?
Where we take into consideration all comments that come through. We're actually out there in person. We check parking spaces on a daily basis and at night. So we're very switched on to what is happening. And of course, we encourage people to bring us bring in comments. Clearly, there is a dichotomy. There's some people who are extremely happy. A lot of people have congratulated government for this scheme, especially those that live in town. And clearly, those that don't live in town are less happy about it. But this is an inevitable fact.